1954 Chevy. You wouldn't think the first car on our list, the 1954 Chevy, would be a candidate for a list of forgotten Chevys. It was a huge sales success in a string of sales-leading years following the Korean War and was the '1 sales leader in 1954 with 1,139,921 units built. But compared to the era-defining 1955, 1956, and 1957 models, the Tri-5 triplets, the 1954 will forever live in the shadow of the better-looking, more popular, more powerful V8-powered Tri-5s. The 1949 till 1954 Chevy might be suppressed in the memories of most, but it is still a highly sought-after model within some hot-rodding niches for use as a street rod, lowrider, or period-correct gasser. This is an old Chevy car worthy of being remembered, something we can't say for every car on our list. 1958 Chevy. Just as the 1954 Chevy's Thunder was stolen by the Tri-5, so was the Thunder of the 1958 model. As Detroit's jet-age styling motifs became more elaborate, with the proliferation of chrome and curves, cars would become in many instances caricatures of themselves. The 1958 Chevy advanced these themes to excess, combining it with the all-new X-frame chassis, amplifying what had been a perfect balance in the 1955 to 1957 Chevy. Customers responded poorly, and sales of Chevy cars in 1958 fell by nearly 30% over the 1957 model. Chevy would double down on the styling excess of the late 1950s with the alcohol-fueled design hangover of the 1959 Chevy. The positively inspired excess worked, bumping the sales numbers of the 1959 model back to Tri-5 levels. Once again, relative to other old Chevy models on our list, the 1958 is far from forgettable, suffering more from being overshadowed than a lack of inspired design. 1960 to 1969 Chevy Corvair. Hard financial times are nothing new to Americans, and the recession of 1958 was the most significant economic downturn since the Second World War. In response, Americans became interested in smaller cars in large numbers for the first time, stimulating imports from the likes of Volkswagen, Simca, and others. At Chevy, engineers got busy with the Corvair, a compact rear-engine car with good fuel economy, attractive looks, and performance rivaling similar cars from Europe. Ford, Chrysler, and AMC did so similarly with their respective Falcon, Valiant, and Rambler models. But early examples exhibited handling problems that were belatedly corrected. It didn't matter. By the time Ralph Nader's book Unsafe at Any Speed was published in 1965, the end was nigh for Chevy's compact Corvair, which GM pulled the plug on after the 1969 model year. Make no mistake, the Corvair was a great little car according to its small but loyal following, and one could argue it doesn't deserve the forgotten status it wears. 1973 till 1976, Chevy Chevelle SS and the Laguna S3. The early 70s were tumultuous years for the domestic auto industry, which was hard-pressed to deliver needed change at such a fast pace. With fuel no longer cheap and stricter tailpipe emissions approaching, high-performance engines were hastily replaced with low-PO smog versions. The cars getting those engines, however, were already designed, and the factories were tooled. At Chevy, the brand-new replacement for the mid-size A-body, known to buffs as the Colonnade-style A-body, had the best chassis and suspension yet. If equipped with the power plants originally intended, the Chevy Chevelle SS and Laguna S3 would have been the most potent, best-performing, and arguably the best-looking Chevy muscle cars to date, but it wasn't to be. Adding insult to injury, the feds required 5-mile-per-hour bumpers be tacked on at the last minute, spoiling the otherwise graceful shape. 1975 Corvette. The 1975 model year of Corvette is the poster child for the longer period between 1975 and 1982 when the third generation of America's sports car languished. It was the nadir of American performance with 165 horsepower, a number eclipsed by even the most mundane subcompacts of today. It's anyone's guess how Chevy managed to sell 38,665 of them. Nevertheless, the C3 Corvette had an amazing chassis for its time, only needing a motivational upgrade under its long, sexy hood. bookended by the masterful early C3 of 1968 to 1972 and the groundbreaking C4 of 1984. The 1975 Corvette is often dismissed by Corvette aficionados as a waste of time. But like the Colonnade-style midsize A-body, the 1975 Corvette is yet another capable Malaise-era Chevy chassis in search of a good powertrain. 1975 till 1976, Cosworth Vega. Those old enough to remember the Chevy Vega may remember a saying many Vega owners used at the full-service gas stations of the era: check the gas and fill the oil. Premature ring wear and the resulting oil blow-by were just the beginning of the many problems plaguing the standard fare Vega. But despite this, a concerted effort was made to transform the lightweight compact into a real performer with help from British engineering firm Cosworth. A version of the Vega's aluminum block engine, a 16-valve OHC 2.0-liter inline-4 producing 110 horsepower, was the first Chevy with electronic fuel injection and was hand-assembled in the same clean room in Tonawanda, New York as the vaunted 427 CIZL one big block. It was an honest effort at fuel-efficient performance using the best available technology, but the cars were expensive, only $900 cheaper than a Corvette, and just 3,508 examples were made in a 2-year run, wedding the car to its dismal reputation. 1980 till 1985, Chevy Citation. If there's one car on the Left Behind list that everybody can agree on, it's the Chevy Citation of 1980 to 1985. Desperate to find a formula that would resonate with a newly thrifty America, GM replaced its longtime rear-drive X-body-based compact with a lighter front-drive version of the platform that had ample interior space, but little trunk area, deplorable looks, and vastly underpowered engines. In a bold move that celebrated Chevy's evolution to more compact, fuel-efficient cars, Motor Trend would make it 1980's Car of the Year, but the model would generate a raft of recalls, which would have a significant impact on Chevy's reputation that drags on the company to this day. By contrast, Chevy's contemporaneous midsize G-bodies, the Chevy Malibu and Monte Carlo, have become the hot rodder's unlikely hero car from this era. The Chevy Citation is without a doubt an utterly forgettable car worthy of the list. 2003 to 2006 Chevy SSR. In 2003, Chevy launched a bold new vehicle called the SSR, short for Super Sport Roadster, that had all the hallmarks of a successful model. The SSR's sleek, retro-influenced style harkened back to Chevy trucks of the early 1950s and was loaded with fun stuff like a retractable hardtop roof, an all-aluminum 5.3-liter V8, and truck versatility from its GMT 360-based chassis. There was just one problem. 2003 was the year Chevy decided to fire its Camaro customers, and the faithful perceived the SSR, a far more expensive car with less performance, as a tone-deaf response. Rather than embrace the SSR, performance buffs considered it a lame attempt to placate them. Pontiac suffered the same fate when its rebadged Holden Monaro GTO supplanted the discontinued Trans Am and Firebird formula. Was the SSR forgettable? As much as we'd love to say it wasn't, we genuinely like it. History has announced its verdict. Leave this old Chevy car in the past. 2006 to 2007 Chevy Monte Carlo SS and Impala SS. For 2 sweet years, Chevy offered a version of the LS V8 engine in a front-wheel drive configuration with both the Chevy Monte Carlo SS and Impala SS receiving the treatment. Built on GM's midsize front-wheel drive W platform, both cars were part of Chevy's plan to SS-ify every remaining model in the Chevy lineup, such that performance could be offered in every product range. Once again, this occurred in the wake of the Camaro's assassination. The 5.3-liter LS4 V8 put out 303 horsepower and could have easily produced more, but its front-wheel drive configuration necessarily limited what could be done safely under a full warranty. It was Chevy's best try ever at affordable V8 front-wheel drive performance, and we think these cars are under-admired and worthy of being remembered. If you're looking for something even less expensive and more forgotten, same car but not a Chevy, Check out the LS4-equipped 2007 till 2009 Pontiac Grand Prix GXP and the LS4-equipped 2007 till 2009 Buick LaCrosse Super. 2011 to 2017 Chevy Caprice PPV. You might not think a car built in 2011 is old, but in the light-speed evolution of automotive technology, a car like the Chevy Caprice PPV would be dead on arrival today. But hot rodders will see that as one of the PPV's many advantages. In an odd move that Chevy never made before or since, it opted to import the Zeta-based Holden Commodore sedan to the United States for law enforcement only, rebadging it as a Caprice PPV, police pursuit vehicle. With capacity constrained by the factory's output and a watchful UAW here in the States, relatively few PPVs were imported, and none of them were for civilian consumption. With the model out of production for the past 6 years, the 335-horsepower 6.0-liter LS V8-powered sedan makes great fodder for a daily hot rod. Its sleepy, nondescript sedan appearance makes it a great grudge machine, and examples can still be picked up at auction for cheap. The Caprice PPV is long forgotten today, and keen hot rodders will have fun taking advantage of that. 2014 till 2017 Chevrolet SS. Unless you're talking to someone with intimate knowledge of the Chevy brand, mention the Chevy SS to any random car-savvy person, and they'll likely come back with, "Chevy SS what?" Like you forgot to tack on the word Chevelle, Impala, or Camaro to the end of it. Like the Caprice PPV that preceded it, the Chevrolet SS was based on the Holden Zeta platform, and like the PPV, it offered the most vanilla looks ever on a modern Chevy. What's important is the SS's 415-horsepower 6.2-liter LS V8, which was mated to either the indestructible 6-speed Tremec TR 6060 or 6L80E automatic, standard Brembo disc brakes, and GM's excellent standard magnetic ride suspension. Like the PPV, its looks are forgettable, but unlike the PPV, prices on used models, $40K and up, still hover near their original MSRP, making it a less attractive choice for a daily hot rod than its more numerous Caprice PPV platform mate.